This is the part of building faster websites where you'll learn how to do just that, build faster websites. In this practical section of the course, we'll download files for a basic website, measure its performance using Web Page Test, and then improve upon it through various optimization techniques. As code changes are made, where feasible, we'll retest under the same conditions as the reports which came before it. When compared to one another, this will show us how performance is being affected, good or bad, by the latest round of code changes. This will also help us to see the overall trend in web performance metrics, as these aren't a fixed set of numbers and can sometimes vary wildly from report to report, even on the same codebase. Typically, this can be due to factors out of our control, like current network load, or the number of processors running on a device at any one time. When we've finished making changes, we'll retest for a final time and compare against our first performance report to see how far we've come from the start of the practical session to the finish. On Udemy, there will be a resources button shown on the page, usually to the right of the video if you're on desktop. Clicking it will reveal a file called sourcecode.zip. Download and unzip it. This contains the files for MLE Power, the test website we'll be working on. Alternatively, you can also download the source code via Git, as the repo is on GitHub. The website directory structure looks like this. In the source directory, we have the template files for the website. These are built using Nunjucks, which for the PHP developers out there essentially is Twig but in JavaScript. We're using a templating language here to stay dry, which stands for Don't Repeat Yourself. Otherwise, if we wanted to update the HTML in a page's head tag, we would have to duplicate those changes for each individual page, which isn't great. Next, you have the www root directory, which contains all the files publicly accessible when people go to the website. The Nunjucks templates will sit in here as well after being compiled into HTML. So we can compile the Nunjucks templates into HTML, we'll first need to install some dependencies. To do this, you need to have Node.js installed, which you can grab from the Node.js website or your preferred OS package manager. At the time of recording, I'm running Node.js 10.19, so to prevent any compatibility issues or any other problems, you may want to install a similar version, as I can't guarantee that these dependencies will always work on newer versions of Node. In the command line, type npm install. Next, we need to install the command line interface for Gulp, a task runner which we'll use to make compiling the Nunjucks templates simple and easy. In the command line, type this. When complete, you should then be able to compile the Nunjucks into HTML by typing this. You'll know it's worked as a log will look like this, and you'll have a bunch of HTML files in your root directory. Now we've built the website, let's save it locally so we can make changes and view them without having to worry about uploading it anywhere on the internet. There's 1,000 different ways you could go about this, so feel free to use your preferred method if you've done this before. The only prerequisite is that you do so on an Apache server, as that's the server used later in the course while we make some performance-oriented config changes. Alternatively, if you're not familiar with any of this, download MAMP on Mac or WAMP on Windows, as they provide a beginner-friendly way to run an Apache server locally. In this example, I'm going to use MAMP on Mac to serve the MLE Power website. WAMP will be very similar in process. Open the app, then click Preferences, click the Web Server tab, change the document root to the www directory in the source code. Now click the Ports tab and make a note of the Apache port. Here it's 8806. Now in your web browser, go to localhost, and then the port number. And there you go, MLE Power. It consists of a few different pages. Most of our optimization efforts will be spent on the home page, for reasons you'll find out in the next video.